Breaking news. The Nashville Predators have traded veteran defenseman Ryan McDonagh. What did the Predators get in this deal? Why did Barry Trotz make this move right now? And does this say something bigger about what's next for the Nashville Predators?
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to this breaking news edition of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day. Again, we are your free daily Nashville Predators podcast. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Of course, the Nashville Predators just announced a deal, a trade. And Emma and I wanted to jump on and talk through this trade deal, kind of give our initial thoughts and reactions to it. So, Emma, tell us, Ryan McDonagh has been traded. Talk us through what this deal is.
Yes. So the specifics of the deal, he has been traded back to Tampa Bay. And in the deal, the Predators will get a 2024 seventh round pick, a 2025 second round pick. And then Tampa in the deal, along with Ryan McDonagh, will get the fourth round pick in the 2024 draft, which Nashville had acquired from Edmonton as part of one of the Ekholm trade they made last year. So those are the specifics of the deal. I'm going to be totally honest with you. When I saw because in the media we get the emails, we get the press releases emailed to us. When I saw the email, I read the subject line like super quickly and saw like all I saw was Ryan McDonagh and trade and Tampa Bay. And in my head, I think I forgot maybe the specifics of the deal that brought him to Nashville in 2022. So I was like, wait, did that deal include like future considerations or something? And now we're just announcing what the future considerations are. Like I legit thought that's what it was. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, he's going back to Tampa Bay. All right. So I think that alone should tell you, I don't think I'm alone here, and I won't speak for you, but I know for me, I did not see this coming.
No, did not. I would agree with you 100%. This is not a deal that I think anybody had even maybe speculated could happen. This is not a move that I think was really on anybody's radar, even though I think there's a lot of conversation about what will happen with the defensive core going forward. Ryan McDonagh was not a piece that's really been a part of a trade. And the other thing to remember is he came with is it a no move or no trade clause? He has a modified no trade. Is that right?
Yeah, it was a no trade that was part of his clause or part of his deal that was originally signed in Tampa in 2018, I believe. And he had to waive that clause in order to be sent to Nashville. There was a whole kind of, not necessarily controversy, but I mean, there was a lot of background there that he obviously, like, he had that no trade clause. He didn't want to leave, and Tampa really, didn't want to trade him, but he became a cap casualty. I mean, that's a big contract that he's on. And so I think as a sort of modified no trade clause, he was able to specify, like, I think he had a short list of teams that he would agree to be traded to, and Nashville was one of them. So I think it was an interesting situation how he ended up in Nashville. I think this move, regardless of what's coming next for Nashville and Barry Trotz, I think this is absolutely an indication that this is clearing space for something else. But regardless of what that something else is, I think this is a case of Barry Trotz and the Nashville Predators trying to do right by a player.
Yes.
Ryan McDonagh is beloved in Tampa, and for good reason. I mean, he won the Stanley Cup with them in 2020 and 21. And that is, he is one of those serial winners that we thought Trotz was trying to build this Predators team around. And obviously he's an alternate captain, or I guess now was an alternate captain with Nashville. I think that he has brought a lot of stability and leadership to this group. But I think there's also, I mean, we have to be honest, and even in my time around him and my conversations with him, it's very clear he never wanted to leave Tampa. And
Right.
I don't think Tampa wanted him to leave either. So it's a move that I think benefits both sides of the trade. But now I think, as you mentioned, everyone is probably most interested to see what this is clearing space for.
Right. What is this move really about? And I agree with you. I think there's certainly on and off ice reasons why this is a good move for Ryan McDonagh, for both teams. Surprising, I think, as it is here in Nashville. I think one of the obvious things that you touched on is cap space. Ryan McDonagh came here on a $6.75 million contract, AAV. He has 2 years left on it. That's a chunk of change, especially for a team that is not in win now mode. Like, you pay that kind of contract if you have a Roman Yossi, but you don't necessarily pay that kind of contract unless you are one piece or two pieces away from cup contention. And I think the Predators believed they were there when they made the deal for Ryan McDonagh. But a lot has changed in Nashville now. And this is a contract that I think makes people say, hey, we're overpaying for a top defenseman when it's not going to get us necessarily any closer to cup contention than we want to be with that kind of payday. So I think that there is an element of cap space, and I think that raises a lot of questions. You've just freed that up. I also think, and we've talked about this, over the course of the season too, there's just a backlog on the blue line. There are players that Barry Trotz has mentioned by name that he would like to get in the lineup consistently. Spencer Stastny, he's mentioned Mark Del Gaizo. You also have, young Ryan Ufko. You've got Tanner Molendyk, in the prospect pool. So you need to make some space in the blue line. And this gives you a lot of, financial cap space. It also frees up a spot. My question is, Emma, do you think this changes what happens with Alexander Carrier in the offseason? Because he is, as of now, unsigned.
That is a tough one. I think that, I think that we kind of agreed before that Alex Carrier is as good as gone now, just that he's kind of expendable with that backlog that they have on the blue line. Now, I don't know. For me, I don't know if that changes much with McDonagh being gone, only because if you're clearing the space for McDonagh, Carrier is going to be looking for a bigger payday that I personally am not sure that he's earned, at least with this team, because they have so many assets. I think one thing that we learned from the Vancouver series in the first round of the playoffs was the Predators could use some more size on the back end. And Carrier, love him, but he is not a big guy. So I think that if there's a way that they can add some size, not that that's the only measure of a defenseman, but I think it's one that the Predators, were kind of exposed for not having that. I think that there's, and I've already even seen or heard some people mentioning like, oh, maybe Tyler Myers to Nashville. I personally would not like to get rid of one 30-year-old defenseman and sign another, but he is 6'8", so take for that what you will. But no, I think that for me, I don't know that this really moves the needle all that much on Carrier right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more interested to see, again, from the financial side of it. I'm like, all right, are we clearing space for a big free agent acquisition and or an extension for UC Saros?
Right. Because this really does open up a little bit of Pandora's box in the sense that, of course, yes, this helps the team get younger. Yes, it frees up some space on a very crowded, blue line. But is this move a part of a bigger next step for Barry Trotz? And there are so many ways where this could be the first domino in a very busy offseason for Barry Trotz. I agree with you. I think, you have to factor in, okay, does this free up space to re-sign UC Saros, which is something that is on Trotz's plate. And again, you talk about a free agent. Do they want to do a big free agent signing? Is this the time to go out and get somebody? I mean, we talk about who is out there. Carolina Hurricanes have a lot of, pretty high quality UFAs who they probably aren't going to be able to bring back. This may be a good offseason to go out and get a piece for the Predators, whether it's, a bigger offensive piece or, like you mentioned, maybe a bigger defenseman, that kind of thing. This may be a good time for that. And the money makes that a lot more possible for Barry Trotz. Do you think this is a one-off move, Emma?
I think that it's certainly not a one-off move. You don't make a move like this to just in a vacuum. I think it has to be part of something bigger, and it could be a couple other corresponding moves. Like I said, with, as far as the financial piece and using that space, that cap space to go out and get another free agent. For me personally, if the Preds are going to throw money at someone that's not named UC Saros, I would rather they throw money at a legitimate scoring threat.
Yes.
As far as getting a bigger defenseman, I think that's something you can absolutely get, but you don't need a lot of cap space to get it. And they already have more, again, this backlog on the blue line that, again, they could use some more size, but I think that, to me, that's not the thing you throw money at. You throw money at scoring. And
Right.
I'm interested, that you mentioned Carolina. Marty Necas just got a lot more realistic, I think, with this whole the cap space that the Preds just cleared. So he's one I'm definitely going to keep an eye on.
Yeah. So much could happen from this move. Again, Ryan McDonagh headed back to Tampa Bay in a trade with the Nashville Predators today. What Barry Trotz does next, I think we are all waiting to see. This is somebody who is going to make the moves. Barry Trotz does not seem afraid to make some big moves. So, we'll wait and see what it is that he does next. Before we wrap up this breaking news episode, Emma, let everybody know where they can find you and find your work, because I'm guessing you're going to be writing about Ryan McDonagh.
I sure am. My next couple days just got a lot busier, so you can follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Emma_Lingen, and you can find all my work on the Hockey News.
Sounds great. And you can check out my work at penaltyboxradio.com. Find me on social media at ANK_Mama on Ice. That's going to do it for this breaking news edition of the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We will be back tomorrow with an all new full episode. We'll see you then.